Okay, so over here, let's start in Zion, Zion, and the Rebbe explained earlier that there is a chiddush, a novelty, a change that took place when the Eibishter gave the Torah in all three areas. It changed uh, the connection of Hashem with the Torah itself changed, and the impact uh, that the Torah has, on the people, on the world. Um, and the Rebbe went through all the different impacts. When a Yid learns Torah, um, he changes around, changes the world. It impacts the world. That's the change that it takes place, that the Yidden uh, become sort of the owners of the Torah, and they become the owners, and they make the decisions. Um, that's the Yidden's advantage. The Torah itself uh, is that the Torah has the power to impact the world. Um, as the Rebbe went through. So now the Rebbe is going to go and explain a pasuk which describes the difference between the Torah before, the way the forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, how they observed the Torah, and the Torah, the way the we have the Torah. In that pasuk, the Torah compares the forefathers' Torah as being the reach, as being the smell, the aroma, oil. You have a good oil that smells well, a perfume. So the mitzvahs, the Torah that the Avos, the forefathers, they did, it was like a smell of the oil. But the mitzvahs that we do is like the oil itself. The pasuk says, "V'zahu sha'omru razal." This is what our sages of blessed memory say al haposik on the verse. It says, "L'reyach shmanecha toivim," the smell of the oil, of the good oil, and then it says, "Shemen turak shemecha," the your name is like oil that is emptied out. One talks about the smell of the oil, and the other one is Shemen Turak. As it says in there, our sages tell us that Kol Hashirim Sha'omru Lefanecha Ha'aves Reiches Hayu, all the songs, as the Lashon over there brings down that Shirim Hu Torah, that's a song of Torah that brings down from the Maimer, but meaning the Shirim, the song, the Torah that we say that our forefathers, the fathers of us, Reiches Hayu, they were like a smell. They were like a good aroma. Aval Anu, but we, when we do mitzvahs, is Shemen Turak Shmecha. That is like oil that is empty, Ki Odom Shemoirik Mikli Likli. It's like one who empties from one vessel to another vessel. We have the Torah coming into our vessel, the substance, not just the smell, just the substance. This pasuk that talks about the difference between the smell of the good oil and the good oil itself is in all three aspects that we talked about: the difference in Torah itself, the difference in the Noisen, in the Noisen Torah, and the difference in Mekabel Torah. So, as the Medrash says, that kol ha-mitzvahs she'osu lefonecha ha'ovis, all the mitzvahs that the forefathers did, reiches hoyu, they were just aroma, they were smell. Aval anu shemen turak shmecha, but we is like oil. The name of Hashem that we learn and we take, and the mitzvahs is like the oil itself. And the Rebbe says now that this posik, the difference between a smell of the oil, the aroma, and the oil itself is in all three aspects that we talked about before. About Hashem, the giver of the Torah, about the Yidden, the recipients of the Torah, and the Torah itself. The Yeshloimar, we can say, that in this saying of our sages of blessed memories are explained Kol Gimul Ha'inyonim, all these three aspects shenischatshu b'matan Torah that came anew in Matan Torah. What was nischadish that came anew in Matan Torah? The hachiluk shebein reach l'shemen bohem atzmo, the difference between the smell of the oil and this oil itself within the oil. So what's the difference? Shahareyach hurak hispashtus ha'oras hashemen. The smell is not the essence of the oil, it's an expansion. Expansion means it's a ha'ora, it's a ray, it's a shine of the shemen, it's an expansion of the shemen. So that moire ala chidush b'toira u'b'mitzvahs, that presents, that points to the novelty in Torah mitzvahs, shenitnu b'matan Torah, that were given in Matan Torah, b'negeya l'noisen ha-Torah u'metzaveh ha-mitzvahs, as it pertains to the giver of the Torah and the commander of the mitzvahs. This represents the change, what Matan Torah changed, how the Torah was given. The HaTorah k'moi shehi mitzad atzma, before Matan Torah, before the Eibishter gave it to us, Torah on its own, which is Chochmosei shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's Hashem's wisdom. He ha'ora bilvad, that's only a ray, it's a reach. Before Matan Torah, the Eibishter gave, the Torah was the Eibishter's wisdom. The wisdom of the Eibishter is merely a ha'ora. But ve'amiti sa'inyan de'oiraisa v'kutsha bricha kulachad. But the true idea, the true concept, that the Torah and Hashem is one, not only a ha'ora, but that the Eibishter is part with Torah, invested in Torah, nase b'matan Torah. That happened by Matan Torah. That's when the Eibishter became one with the Torah. Sha'oz nimshach bo ha'atzmos, shemen. The time of Matan Torah in the Torah is the essence, it's the oil, it's not just the ispashus, not just chokhmah, it's the essence. Hashem himself, anon nafshik sovis yovis. The Eibishter invested himself. So this is as far as Torah. The same thing is the mitzvahs. Shebematan Torah nimshach bahem ha'atzmus. In Matan Torah, atzmus extended into the mitzvahs. Not only rotzen, doesn't touch it out, but it's not only rotzen, but just like by Torah, it's not just chokhmah, but it becomes the atzmus in Torah. Same thing is by mitzvahs. You get the atzmus in the mitzvahs. So that's the chilik as it pertains to the giver, to Hashem. Before Matan Torah, the Torah that Hashem gave or that we had was Chochmah. The mitzvahs did not have Atzmus in it, but by Matan Torah, the Eibishter put into the Torah the essence and into the mitzvahs the essence. That's one difference. Now, there's another difference in the recipient of the Torah with regards to the Mekablei HaTorah. V'oid chiluk ben reach Hashem and LaHashem and Atzmei. There's an additional difference between the smell of the oil and the oil itself. Shal yidei shemarichim es reach Hashemen. Through smelling the aroma, the smell of the oil, loi nechser me'uma mehashemen. Nothing has been lacking or taken away from the oil. The oil remains intact. But when you take the oil itself, then it is lacking, it's missing where it was. You took it from one place to another place. Shemen turak shemecha. Turak means it will be emptied from one place to the other. Ki odom shemoirik mikli, like a person empties from vest to vest. So what does it mean in the nimshal? Uba nimshal hu. What is in the nimshal? Shal yidei nisinas hatoiro lamato. The Eibishter, through giving the Torah mato, by Matan Torah, when the Eibishter gave us the Torah, it's not just that we have a smell of Torah, he took it away from above. Nital meheol yoinim halacha livsek din. It took it away from the upper one, the power to rule halacha. They can no longer rule halacha. The Torah loy bashamayim. The Torah is not in the shamayim. No longer. Before Matan Torah was different. After Matan Torah, the Eibishter took away from the Elyonim and he gave it to Lamato, so there is made the Yidden, the Balabatim, or the over Torah, that the Elyonim are no longer the Shemen is no longer up there. The Shemen, the Torah is over here by the Yidden. The Oid Chiluk and Reich l'Shemen. There's another, the third difference between a smell, the aroma, and the oil itself. The Hareyach hu hoylach v'kolo. The smell keeps on. As it goes, it ends. The aroma sticks for a while, but then it evaporates. There is nothing left. The smell is only there for a limited time. At the end, nothing is left of it. The same thing is, so the smell itself doesn't last. And also the enjoyment that that the person enjoys the smell, that's as long as there is a good aroma. But after the good smell stops, he doesn't have any more enjoyment. So that is the smell. But when we talk about the food, we talk about the shemen, the actual oil. Even after the food has been digested in your intestine, so you had the oil and you consume the oil and it's been digested, nishar b'metzius, there still remains, the oil remains. Elo, shenepach l'damu basar. It's not oil anymore. It turned into blood and flesh. That's in the person. After Hu poyel beha'odom, and by turning into part of the blood and the flesh of the person, hu poyel beha'odom sha'atchunas sheloi yiyu k'fi tchinos ha'meichel, that it impacts the person, that his character should be like the character of the food. That's why it's so important to eat kosher food or not to eat from those animals that are uh, killers animals, because if you eat them, that's the reason behind it, because if you eat them, your character gets the character of the food that you eat. So the lasting impact of oil itself versus the smell of oil, this is permanent, it stays. Ubehanimshal hu. So what is the example of this? Sheham shocha al yidei kiyum hamitzvos umikolshkin al yidei limud haTorah, that the accomplishment, that which was drawn down through the observance of the mitzvahs, and certainly through the study of Torah da'avis before Matan Torah, Loi nikva b'ha'olam b'pnimiyusay. It wasn't set in the world in an inner so that it stays. It's v'al limud ha'Torah shel achar matan Torah. But through the study of Torah that we, after Matan Torah, what did the Matan Torah accomplish with regards to the impact of the world? So after Matan Torah, when we learn Torah, Mekolshka de Kiyum mitzvahs, and for sure through mitzvahs, Nase Shinui Ha'olam B'Pnimiyus U'B'Kaviyus, then it becomes the change in the world, in an inner and in a permanent. That's the difference in Torah, the impact of Torah itself. The impact, so the three levels, the impact of on what Matan Torah accomplished, that it's not just the Chokhmah of Hashem, but it's the essence of Hashem in Torah. It impacts the Yidden, that not only do they get this smell, but they get in charge. They are control. They get the rulings on the Torah. And the impact in the world is such that it remains in a pnimius, all related to this general idea, the difference between the smell of the oil, the aroma, and the oil itself, as Rebbe explained. So the Rebbe is going to say, but the actual main part of the Chidush is the fact that the Atzmus came down into Torah. The Anoichi Hashem Elikecha, the difference that Hashem invested himself in the Torah versus the way the Torah was just the Chokhmah of Hashem. So we can say the Begim ul Inyonim Hanal Shenischatshu b'Matan Torah, that in these three ideas that came about a Matan Torah, the new, what happened, the new thing that happened in Matan Torah, HaChidush ha'ikrihu, what is the main Chidush is, Shebematan Torah nase hamshochas ha'atzmus b'Torah, by Matan Torah, it became that the atzmus, the essence of Hashem, is in Torah. And that way, through that, it also becomes that novelty, the Torah and the receiver of the Torah. Those are secondary chidushim, that the recipients of the Torah and the Torah itself, its impact, that comes as a result because Atzmus invested himself in Torah. The Torah mitzad Atzmo, because Torah in itself Kivon shehi be'ein arech legamri leha'olam, since it is uncomparable totally to the world, ein shinui behadvorim sheba'olam al yidei dinei haTorah. So there is no change in the world matters through the laws of Torah. The laws of Torah cannot impact really the world because there's no comparison between the Torah and the laws of Torah. There is a gap over there that is not compared at all. So it doesn't change. Torah itself would not change the world. And similar to mitzvahs. Torah and mitzvahs would not change the world on their own because of the distant, because in comparison, there's no connection between Torah and the world. The way that there is a connection that Torah and mitzvahs change the world, that's because they get atzmus. The power in the Torah and the mitzvahs that were given at the Matan Torah, to impact the change in the world, who ki b'matan Torah nimshach ha'atzmus b'Torah mitzvah. Because b'matan Torah, the atzmus came in Torah mitzvahs, and that gives the Torah mitzvahs the power to change the world. That way, they also have the strength to impact a change in the world. Because by Matan Torah, the atzmus comes to Torah mitzvahs. Yes, behem hakoyach lifel gam b'hadvorim sheba'olam she'einam be'erech la'Torah mitzvahs. That way, they can also impact in the world things that are not comparable to the mitzvahs. Why? Because they have atzmus. Ki ha'atzmus hu b'chol mokem. Atzmus is everywhere. So how was it possible for the world to change from Torah mitzvahs? Is because now Torah has atzmus. And atzmus is everywhere, so you can't say that it's distant, it's not there. And also the other aspect that the Yidden become the ruler of the Torah, as it pertains to the power that was given to the Yidden, lifsek halachas, that they can rule the halachas, v'ad la'ofen, to the extent that Kodesh Baruch Hu Chiach Hashem smiles, v'omar natzchuni bone natzchuni. My children, they've been victorious. They've been victorious. You know, they ruled. They overruled me because the halacha is by a yid, that the yid rules halacha. How do we get that koyach that the yid can rule the halachas and be the final word, even against Kutchabrichu? Hashem smiles that they are victorious. The koyach zesha be Yisrael hu. Where did the yid get this koyach? Lefi sheshoyresh haneshomas hu ba'atzmusi yizbarach. Is because the root of the neshamas is in his blessed atzmu. Lemaila mikemoishe tzimtzum es atzma b'Torah Kutchabrichu. This is a higher place than where the Eibishter restricted himself in Kodem Kutchabrichu. That's why Kutchabrichu Chayich, Hashem smiles. He says they won me because the level of Kutchabrichu is a lower level. That's a manifestation of a restricted level of Hashem, the way he puts himself down in Kutchabrichu. But the Yid, because he comes in Atzmus, he overrides the Kutchabrichu, and the halacha remains like Bonai, Natzchuni Bonai. How do you reveal that level of Atzmus that is in the Neshama? V'hagilui the shoyresh haneshama k'moishe mushreshes ba'atzmus, the revelation of the root of the neshama as it is rooted in atzmus ba'haneshama, How do you reveal that root of the neshama, that it should come down in the neshama? K'moi shebo b'amshocha, the neshama as it's extended, it's here, not in the shayrish and neshama. We want the shayrish and neshama to come down to the neshama as it extended. And certainly we need it to come down. How could you get it down to the level in the neshama which is in the body, which is even more lower level into the extended? That's to Torah. The al yidei shapsicha de matan Torah hoiso be'anoichi. Through the fact that the opening of Torah was with Anoichi, which is Rosh Tevis Anon Nafshi Ksavis Yehovis. That's the abbreviation I have given myself, my essence I've written and I've given over to Torah. The Eibishter, so to speak, entered, put himself, his essence in the Torah. Then he became, that brought about Anoichi should be alikecho, individual, the kol echad misro, by each individual. The Eibishter's gilui of his atzmos revealed in each one. When a Yid learns Torah properly as needs to be, it comes down openly. The Rebbe basically says the main chiddush is that Atzmus came down in Torah. Because the Atzmus came down to Torah, that gives the Torah the power to make a change through the Dinei HaTorah, to make a change in the world, because they have Atzmus. That also gives the Yidden the koyach to become the balabatim of a Torah. The shoyrish is revealed, is because in Torah the Eibishter put himself in. Atzmus came to Torah, Anoichi Hashem Elikecha, and that makes him the level of Atzmus and the Gilui, so that when a Yid learns properly, he gets that koyach to become the balabos of a Torah. Natzchuni bon natzchuni. And the Rebbe says we can say Sheha Inyan, the Anoichi Elikecha. This idea, Anoichi becomes Elikecha, Anoichi Shem Elikecha. The Yisrael, Hu Lemailo Mibchinas Anoichi Shabbatorah. The revelation of I, the way it comes down by a Yid. Here we're saying it comes down by a Yid through the Anoichi of Torah. But we're saying when he learns Torah, but the Rebbe says the Anoichi, the level of Atzmos that a Yid gets, is even higher than the Anoichi that's in Torah. Ukiyadua, as it's known, Shagam b'hashoyrish the Torah v'Yisrael k'moshe hem ba'atzmos. Even in the root, when you compare the root of Torah and the root of Yisrael as they are in Atzmos, Hasherish the Yisrael hu l'mayla m'sherish the Torah. The root of Yidden is higher than the root of Torah. The HaTorah, because Torah, gam k'moy shehi la'achrei matan Torah. Even the Torah after matan Torah, Inyan nonafshik sovis Yehovah, the Eibishter invested himself. He b'shvil Yisrael. It's all because of the Yid. So the Yid is higher than that Anoichi. But how does he get to his Anoichi, to the level of Atzmus by the Yid? Through the Torah. But the Atzmus of a Yid is even greater than the Torah. Elo shahagilui, the Anoichi elikecha de Yisrael. How does the Anoichi elikecha of the Yid come revealed? That comes through Anoichi Shabbatorah. So while the Rebbe explained earlier, before the brackets, that in order to get to your Shoyrish HaNeshama is learning Torah properly, which the Torah is Anon Nafshik Sovis Yehovis, the Rebbe says in the bracket, but the Yid through that reaches a higher level. Even higher, because the Shoyrish of a Yid, because everything is for the Yid. The Torah is also for the Yid. וזהו גם הטעם שגם על ידי לימוד התורה בישראל. This is also the reason that why also through the study of Torah v'Yid nase shinui behadvarim sheba'olam, there is a change in the matters of the world. The Yid's study of Torah changes the world. Bedugmas sheshinui shenase beha'olam al yidei aseres hadibra shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Just like this change, similar to the change that the world experienced through the 10 sayings of the Eibishter said, this impact Lamer to impact the Asora Mamoris, because when a Yid occupies in Torah, Nimshecha Gilui de Anoichi. He gets the revelation of Anoichi, the Yid gets it of Anoichi, Anoichi Sheba Torah, the Anoichi of Torah, V'gam Anoichi Lekecha de Yisrael, and also Anoichi, I'm your God. So you get the Anoichi Shelamaylam Anoichi Sheba Torah, as the Rebbe said in the bracket, V'hadibur Kavayochel de Ha'atzmos, Poil Shinu Ba'ilum Kinal. So then it is the dibur, so to speak, of Atzmos changes the world, because the Yid is now brings down the word of the Atzmos, because the Yid, through learning Torah, brought down the Anoichi in his Torah. Through the learning of Torah and the Gil of Anoichi revealed his Anoichi, which is Atzmos, and therefore, through that, they impact a change in the world. Okay, let's leave it over here.
Okay.
And we'll be mamshich. Some deep in Yonim over here. Got to go over again, but for a first review.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.